Well, hello, everyone. Here we are with Joy Workout number 68. And I'm looking at the 12 practices. And I actually today was thinking about the subtitle for this book. I was thinking about having a dream that's bigger than you. And I was thinking about the importance of that and the benefits of that and the way that it can like propel your life forward in a way that it doesn't feel like life is kind of pushing you from behind, but it feels like life is propelling you forward because you're drawn towards something beautiful, which is a more fun way to go through life. And then it dawned on me that I've really been talking about that since the beginning of my career as a coach in 1998. And that book, Reach Your Stars, is based on that idea. Everything after that was kind of like either affirming that or dealing with some of the obstacles that can come up in like big, huge, ginormous ways that kind of feel like even up to the feeling of like a tsunami. And then, okay, back on track. So here we are back again inside of me in this very long, ongoing conversation, contemplation. Having a dream that's bigger than you. So the subtitle to the 12 practices ebook and videos is a guide to permanently ending procrastination regarding your looking at Reach Your Stars, your most important priorities and tuning up your joy today. I can't tell you how many people when people would interview me about Reach Your Stars, in the interview, they would look at the book and they would say out loud, reach for the stars. And I would say, it's not what the book says. It says, reach your stars. Reach for the stars can be anybody's stars. Reach for your stars. Now, that can be that you're supporting someone else in reaching their stars, and that reaching your stars is being a supportive person for that person. It doesn't mean that you have to go gangbusters into the world and know millions of people. Reach your stars is whatever makes your heart feel really full. Well, then it dawned on me that every single one of the chapters, every one of the practices in this book and the sections in this book, because the practices are only section 1, they all support the idea of that. They all support the person who has a dream that's bigger than themselves. Have a dream that's bigger than you. If you have that going, then your heart will lead the way. It means your heart is in the guiding position. It means you're going to be more persistent and more committed and have more conviction as you go. So I want to read the names of the practices and the names of the sections. So there are 4 sections in the 12 practices ebook. There's 4 sections. Section 1 is the practices. Section 2 is activities. Section 3 is shared agreements, and section 4 is meetings. Well, let's look at the practices. The 12 practices in the light of having a dream that's bigger than you. Using joy-based living language and lingo. Well, that can certainly help you. Things like honor, commitment, loyalty, being imperfect and awesome. All these kinds of things, celebrate your mistakes. That supports the idea of having a dream that's bigger than you. Feed the cow, feed your container of worthiness. Well, when you do that, you will be supporting yourself in having a dream that's bigger than you, which feels so inspiring and enlivening and generative. Like it's having a dream that's bigger than you. I mean, what words come to mind inside of your mind and body? Then we have practice 3, which is embodiment for empowerment. Well, empowerment is one of the words that has to do with having a dream that's bigger than you, right? Living into something bigger. You know what I find? I find that if I have dreams that are too small, I actually feel more stressed and exhausted. It's kind of like putting someone in a classroom who They put me in remedial English in ninth grade because I had switched from a private school to a public school, and the teacher kept looking at me because I was, like, just bored. I didn't belong in there, and we knew I didn't belong in there, but they had to wait a few weeks to go through their bureaucratic nonsense. But in the meanwhile, I learned some really cool things in the class, including automatic writing, which maybe that's how, life was moving me, that I would have learned that in her class and not in somebody else's. But when I have goals and dreams that are too small, I get, like, stressed and bored in a way that's not healthy, like neurotic, like, putting a parrot in a cage without giving it, like, enough stimulation. Um, but having a dream that's bigger than me makes me feel more alive, more heartful, more true to my nature, more expansive. I'm talking about myself, but as always, when I'm sharing things like this, I'm thinking about, maybe that by me sharing it, it will stimulate that feeling in you, that possibility in you. Because a lot of times when we talk from our hearts, we're talking not just for ourselves. So whenever I'm saying me in this context, I'm talking about my heart, but inside in your heart as well. Um, Number 4, share your stories. Definitely, as I've had more and more people who are supportive around me, sharing my stories has definitely helped me having a dream that's bigger than me. So you want to share your stories. You want to have people that you can trust to validate um, your path, to support you in your path. It's not possible to have a dream that's bigger than you and accomplish it all by yourself. And so having people to validate you doesn't necessarily look like a psychologist or just a confidant, although it can be. It also means people supporting you by saying, "Hey, I want that too," and then you're walking forward together. Practice 5 is joy-based boundaries. Dude, if you're gonna have a dream that's bigger than you need joy-based boundaries for sure. Um, Practice number 6, joy-based trajectories and milestones rather than goals. Well, that is just a perfectly awesome, wonderful practice in terms of giving you some, like, the substance of having a dream that's bigger than you. Like, what does that look like in terms of how to create plans and things like that? Practice 6 is perfect for that. Waves of abundance, those are the generative. I guess I'm into the word generative today. Regenerative emotions. You want to be embodying those higher level of emotions to keep you going, and you want to prune the negative emotions as you walk forward with discernment. So if you have a sense of something's not right with this situation or this person, you don't want to just prune it. You want to listen. You want to say, is there some substance to this? Do I need to pay attention to this? Or is this just an old familiar habit that I have that I could really do better off to let go of? And so waves of abundance is what you want to practice there. Practice number 8 is emotions, 2 essential skills that you can do the practice and learn about that. Of course, you know, if you have a strong emotion about something and you have a strong desire, your emotion, if it's in conflict with the desire, will outweigh the desire. It will win. So you want your emotions. Emotions to me are more powerful than nuclear energy. They're just hugely powerful, and when they're lined up, when they are not fractured, fragmented, and going in different directions, when they are unified in the same direction, it's like a really strong magnet, and y'all know how much I love strong magnets. By the way, Linda, thank you for my strong magnets. I'm using them. Um, what would you love to experience? That's something that I ask my friends and myself on a regular basis. It is the ongoing question of someone who's living by the quest of having a dream that's bigger than you versus the question of what do I need to do? Well, according to who? Most people are like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to get done? And they have these checklists of obligations of things that other people or culture has imposed on them, including going on like diets and wearing makeup a certain way and things like that. So, what would you love to experience is the most unifying, wholehearted, empowering, guided question that you can have on a regular basis. So, like if you had a walking stick, if you were like a Sherpa or a mountain climber and you had a walking stick, I would want you to emblazon the question on that walking stick, what would I love to experience? And to allow that to be your guide as you walk. Number 10 practices obsessions and compulsions. Those simply mean that you're not being conscious, you're not being embodied, you're doing things automatically that maybe you wouldn't necessarily want to be doing as often as you do. So if I sometimes I go through phases of like binge watching things. Is that obsession and compulsion? Depends. Am I trying to escape something, or am I just trying to refresh myself and kind of tune out for a little bit and then come back and see from a different perspective? So only you decide if something is an obsession and compulsion. If it's giving you a sense of liveliness, you're on. If it's giving you a sense of trying to run from something or escaping stress, then it's probably not the healthiest thing for you to do maybe as frequently, and you might need to face something. Which is when we have a dream that's bigger than us. I learned this from like Olympians, is that they have a huge amount of stress, but it's a healthy stress. It's a happy stress. And I decided a long time ago that song from The Sound of Music, having a dream, have a dream that will need all the love you can give. I knew that I wanted my heart to feel that alive. Um, all the love you can give every day of your life for as long as you live. I wanted a dream that could be that. And so there were a few years that I actually had to turn that off because I felt lost, because I kept like really having a lot of screw ups in my life. And that was really, 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 really hard, because so much of my life force energy is enlivened by having love flow through in a really flowing and beautiful way. But I didn't know how to handle some of the choices that I had to make. And I think I felt guilty and shameful about some of those choices of having to leave certain people behind and things like that. And I didn't know how to go forward without carrying all that baggage. So then I had to learn how to release that baggage. And I had to learn how attractive that baggage was to me, that I kept putting it back in my backpack. And then I was like, nope. When I learned these practices, I really learned how to clear out the backpack as much as possible. And so it's an ongoing practice, but dude, I'm like on it, and it's good. So number 11 is your tribe of well-being. If you have a dream that's bigger than you, you need a tribe of well-being. I promise you that, and guarantee you that. If you look at any historical person who had a dream that was bigger than them, they had a tribe of well-being, even if it was really small. I think of the Secretariat story, the movie Secretariat. Her whole family was against her, but her secretary was on her side. Her horse trainer was on her side. And the guy who took care of Secretariat was also on her side. And then the nation got on her side, but like it was like the whole world was like against her whole family. It's a beautiful story. Beautiful, beautiful story. I highly recommend watching stories like that, so you can see how important these elements are, and the tribe of well-being. What's next? Congratulations and appreciation. Asking yourself what's next, giving yourself congratulations and appreciation. That is so much part of having a dream that's bigger than you. One of the things that can happen is, for me, from my experience, is that you have a dream that's bigger than you, and I get so focused going forward, that I forget sometimes to appreciate myself for what I've put out there, because it feels so good doing it. And I have to remind myself to go, hey, look at what you just did. And right now, doing a review of these practices is actually giving me that sensation, because I'm like, wow, if you look at any great story in history or in a great movie, you're going to see that the main character or characters practiced all of these to some degree or another, if it's truly a great story. So another movie that's coming to my mind that I absolutely love is Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. And in that movie, the main character has to learn to embody these ideas in order to become her full self. So that's what we're here for. Thank you for being here with me, for helping me to grow this dream that's so much bigger than me for joy-based living. My dream is for the world to feel like joy-based living, for the world to be one where we don't need a program called joy-based living because the world is joy-based living. Oh my gosh, would that just be completely awesome? I will see you tomorrow for our next joy workout. Bye for now.